Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Moments away, Greg Peterson. But first, Rise Gardens.
Rise Gardens is a revolutionary hydroponic gardening system for your home. Instead of food traveling hundreds or even over 1,000 miles before it hits your plate, harvest the veggies and herbs and greens you need for dinner tonight in the comfort of your home. No green thumb required knowledge. Gardening makes easy with Rise Gardens app. Step-by-step guidance from seed to harvest. A complete garden on a shelf and comes with everything you need to grow healthy and the freshest food for you and your loved ones. Fully customize your garden to your needs and preferences. For more information, go to risegardens.com.
Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Greg Peterson created urbanfarm.org from a passion for urban farming. The passion grew as he created the urban farm in Phoenix, Arizona, on 1/3 acre where he planted 70 plus fruit trees. There and online, he educates and empowers people to plant their own. Through this entity, he offers food growing related classes, both online and in person, as well as events to promote fruit and vegetable seeds, combined with topic related education. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we thank you for taking time out of your day and to not only educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this, Greg. It's a 3-part question, so we'll work through it here. What is urban farming? Why are you so passionate about urban farming?
Okay, what is an urban farmer? So I have said for years that with a capital T, solution to our global food challenges is growing food in the city. So urban farming and being an urban farmer is all about figuring out how to grow food where it's needed, which is in cities. And it can be container farms, it can be traditional 2, 3, 4 acre farms. It can be in warehouses and backyards. In fact, when I was in college, I went back to college at the age of 40. And when I was in college, I used to farm my front and backyard. And on Wednesday mornings, I'd get up early and harvest what I could and take it to the market. I would walk away with $200 or $300 cash. And anything I had left over, I took to my friend Susan at the Calico Cow, and she fed me lunch. So that's what urban farming is.
So one has to have to want to do this.
Oh yeah, and it's a passion. It's absolutely a passion, and I think the next question was where the passion come from for me.
Yes,
I honestly have to say I was born with it. In 1974, in the 8th grade, I wrote a paper on how we were overfishing the oceans. I knew back then that there was something inherently wrong with the way we were eating and living on the planet. And it just developed from there. I learned about permaculture in 1991 and read a book called Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, who talks all about how our food system came to be a consumptive food system rather than a contributory food system, one that contributes to us. And I think the next question is tell me what the next question is.
Sure. Yeah. So speaking about, you said you have to, obviously want to urban farm and have the desire. What would you say, the biggest hurdle people face when starting their own urban farm?
Their head.
Okay.
Their head gets in the way. I have said for a long time that being an urban farmer is simply growing food and sharing it, whether you're sharing it with your friends, your family, the local farmers market. Grow food. And farming is a profession. Gardening is a hobby. So I encourage people to grow food and share it. Call yourself a farmer. It's a different way of interacting with it, and then name your farm. When you name your farm, it creates a conversation in the world about food and about what you're doing. You walk up to somebody and what do you do? Oh, I run Two Fat Cats apartment garden. She named it.
Right.
And that gets the conversation going. The urban farm in Phoenix was called the urban farm for over 25 years when I lived there. And it was a space to have a conversation around local food.
Now, does one have to have experience in gardening before or growing in order to have an urban farm? Or is that what you're talking about? Their head gets in the way. Well, I've never done it before, so I can't do it.
Yeah, that's your head getting in the way. Plant something, grow something. One of the easiest ways to get into it as a profession is make friends with a chef or two near your house and find out what they want you to grow. And then just start growing for them. And basil is super easy to grow, and most chefs want basil.
And you get, if you're already friends with a chef, typically it's a higher end restaurant, so they're going to pay you good quality return for good quality product.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than growing basil or peaches or squash or anything like that, and then going to the restaurant the day that you delivered early, going to the restaurant for dinner. You're a hero there. I had that happen so many times in Phoenix, where I'd take baskets of food to the chefs, and then you go there for dinner, and it's like, you're a hero there. It's like they introduce you to everybody in the restaurant. This guy grew our peaches.
Well, tell us about what you provide on your website and what you do from what you do from there, what you do there.
So urbanfarm.org is my website, and it's a informational source on how to grow food really anywhere, but urban areas for sure. We offer a series. We have 7 different courses that people can take. We always have free monthly classes. GardenChat.org and SeedChat.org are our 2 free monthly classes that we give. People just, you just sign up for them and you get a notice. And each month we talk about seed saving and seeds or gardening and with a special guest. And then I have my Urban Farm podcast, which is 7.5 years old and over 750 episodes at this point, with a lot of content on how to grow food. And the podcast is mostly an interview podcast. So I find people that are doing cool things, and it can be all the way from rock stars. I've had rock stars on my podcast, rock star farmers to, backyard gardeners. And they're just telling their success stories, and it's very motivational.
Well, I like websites like yours, urbanfarm.org, for one main reason. You tell the truth and you tell it how it's supposed to be done in order to be successful, not because here's what I'm going to say because I'll get clicks and I'll get revenue because of those clicks.
Right.
Because there's plenty of those people out there. They will tell you whatever you want to hear, so you keep coming back, even if you're a failure at what you're being told that is a success.
Exactly. And I'm just in it because I've been doing it for 40 years, and it's what I'm supposed to be doing on the planet. We have a very, very broken food system on this planet. It delivers unhealthy food, and my goal is to transform our global food system to a local food system.
Which was what the intentions of Native Americans, that's what they did. They ate what was there, and then when they then they moved. If they didn't have what was left, we've lost all of that knowledge. They knew that tree did this and that plant did that, and if you touched that, you died, and we don't know any of that now.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of this, it seems that gardening homesteading is becoming a lost skill or not as much interest from younger people. Do you agree? And how would you say you could get younger people to engage more?
Actually, I'm seeing a lot of younger people, millennials, jumping in. I have this theory, and the theory goes like this. People change for 2 reasons. 99% of the time, people change because they get hit by a Mack truck. And you can call that Mack truck a storm in Texas, or COVID, or the economic downturn in 2009 that we had, all of which times my listenership and interest exploded. 1% of the time people change because they choose to change. And that's really what I'm sharing, is really great information to hopefully inspire people to choose to change and get systems in place before before the food system breaks down any further.
Right. Be proactive instead of having to figure out what to do when the mess is on the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, we've seen during those. Well, we've been around for 7 years, but we've seen when COVID hit, the numbers went sky high, and and then when COVID went away, however you want to describe or believe in that, people went back to normal life and things went back to normal, quote unquote.
Right. Yeah, and my goal is to figure out how to get people inspired to not go back to normal.
Yeah.
So you recently moved from North Carolina to North Carolina from Phoenix. What are some gardening challenges that you will now face, and how will you overcome them?
Oh my gosh. So I actually gardened for 45 years in Phoenix. I started when I was mid-teens, and I gardened until I left a year and a half ago. And the challenge we have in Arizona is making sure that things get watered. And that's pretty straightforward, especially with drip tape. That helps a lot. And there wasn't a lot of pest pressure in Arizona. I didn't have a whole lot of pests to deal with. And what I've learned since I got here is the pest pressure is exponentially greater here because it's so green. We get on average of 4 inches of rain a month here. In Arizona, we got on average of about a half an inch of rain a month. So there's molds and funguses and things like that, if you overwater your potatoes, I did that this week. My potatoes were overwatered and they died. So I'm really having to pay attention more to disease pressure and pest pressure that's here that I didn't really have to deal with in Phoenix. One of the things that I discovered since I got here, and this is available in Phoenix as well, is the cooperative extension and the farm rep at the cooperative extension. So I've actually been working with our local farm rep here in North Carolina, and she's helped a lot.
That's what they're there for, to help you so you don't make the mistakes, so you can be successful. And that's your big change going from across the country.
Right.
But if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
So, well, we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to educate us here, Greg. How can people find out more about you? You spoke of your website. Mention that again and what we can find on that.
urbanfarm.org is our website, and there's lots of information. The blog's 15 years old. There's lots of information on fruit trees, gardening, and we've got 2 monthly things that we do. I mentioned them earlier, seedchat.org and gardenchat.org, and you just go there and it's a sign-up page. You give me your email address, and once a month I'll send you an email that says, hey, our seed chat this month is about such and such. And we're all about educating people and making sure that they know how to most successfully grow food.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for the time you've given us and the education for Holly and myself and all of our listeners.
Thank you. I've actually been listening to your show, and I love it.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the voice of excitement there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.